Welcome to the Proptech Hot Seat on iProperty Radio. I'm Cróna Esler and I am delighted to be joined today by Maryrose Lyons of the AI Institute. You're very welcome to the Hot Seat, Maryrose.
Thanks for having me, Cróna.
Great to speak with you today. Listen, I suppose we'll start at the beginning. Tell me a little bit about the AI Institute, getting it started, getting it off the ground, and I guess exactly what you do.
Yes, I'd love to. At the AI Institute, we help engineers, architects, consulting firms, anyone in the built environment who wants to adopt AI. We help them to do this in very fast and measurable ways. And we've been doing this now since 2024. We're into our second year of operation. And I started it on the 1st of January 2024.
Okay, great. And why construction? Why engineering? Why this industry?
Well, very good question. I really find that as a sector, there is a lot of admin. There is, like, anyone listening who's aware of their role and the amount of Excels that they live with every day, and the amount of tasks that I see that are just crying out for automation. So we were lucky enough to win Ethos Engineering as our first engineering client, and that was back in 2024, kind of halfway through the year. And just really, we've been working with others in the sector, delivering automation and AI training. It kind of starts with AI training for us and helping project managers, designers, and engineers to have an easier life. Literally through knowing how to prompt properly, knowing how to use data safely, and bringing automation into their roles.
Okay. And I suppose traditionally, the construction industry, may not necessarily be seen as receptive to, technology and digitalization and all of that. How are you finding the industry? How are people responding?
Really well, actually, because I suppose what we're selling is AI literacy. And, as I keep on saying, AI is everything, everywhere, always at once. It's just rapidly evolving. And you know yourself, Crona, like, it's not like people have a choice as to whether they're going to adapt or not. There was a lot of messaging last year, 2024, which was about, get on the bandwagon or you'll get left behind. And I think those who haven't are experiencing the effects. And luckily, the ones that we're working with are those who have, who tend to be quite innovative culturally anyway. And they're just delighted with themselves. They're coming back for more because, like, what we're able to bring and we're able to measure really easily, quantifiably, is productivity gain. So we guarantee, and I know there's not a lot of guarantees in this world, but, like, literally, we can guarantee a 20% productivity gain in everybody's work, and that's massive. And then once people are enjoying that benefit, they'll find that they're able to produce better quality work. And then with most people, they're kind of into their jobs, and if they're doing better quality work, doesn't it make you feel better as a human? So it's kind of a triple whammy. I can't take full credit because a lot of it is down to the fact that it is AI doing this work, but we are the gatekeepers. We show people around, and we do this in a very kind of measured process that we have proven now that it works.
Okay. And in terms of the sort of companies you're working with, are they, are they small companies? Are they huge companies? If I have a construction company that has half a dozen employees, or an engineering company, I suppose maybe take me a little bit through the process of you walk in the door or you jump on a Zoom. What's the first step? Is it kind of analysis first or what happens?
Great question again. So first of all, in terms of the size, okay, we can handle and we can look after anybody. We run public courses in various different topics. So our top seller, or the most popular one, is called the AI Core Skills course.
Okay.
And what we've done with this is that we've identified four thematic areas that apply to any sector, really. But there are four thematic areas that everybody needs to know how to use to bring AI into their role. So the four areas would be things like prompt engineering, knowing how to construct a really good prompt. The second one would be around data analysis. So firstly, using your data securely, knowing what to put out, what not to put out. But the amazing results you can get when you're able to kind of get the stories from your own data. And most of us are sitting on top of a pile of data that we've never really kind of had the kind of wherewithal to kind of bring those stories out. The third thematic area would be around kind of content and writing. So whether that's report writing, slide deck generating, anything like that. And then the fourth area would be building out virtual assistants or agents to kind of help you kind of work fast and at scale. So those four areas are covered in our core skills course. We've one coming up actually on the 13th of November.
Okay.
It's all online, so it's delivered on Teams. It's all recorded. They're really good crack. Like they're very practical. Everyone's got their hands on the keyboard, and there's a lot of sharing. And then you get recordings of the sessions. So some people kind of want to go back and look back on them. So really, we start with the core literacy, and that's open to anyone. And then with larger clients, we offer a kind of much more sort of consultative sort of process, which is it begins with an AI survey that goes out to all the members of your team, and it's quite novel actually. It allows people to answer the questions using their voice. And what we find is that when if you're asked a question and you can answer it by voice, you're given a much deeper, richer answer
Of course.
rather than just yet another, click this box here. So we survey everyone to see where AI can add value into their work. And then we construct the training course specifically around their tasks.
Okay.
So it's really interesting getting into the heads of, like, say, design managers and so on to see where their blockers are. And then we construct training around that, deliver the training, and then we pick up wherever the training cannot be solving their problems. Then we have an AI app development part of the business where we can either build out apps or build out automations for them.
Okay. And it may not be, very straightforward to answer this, but kind of what sort of places are you seeing gaps? What isn't being answered? What is that app
Mm.
needed for?
Well, there are so many areas. Like, for example, a lot of organizations have issues around, say, resource planning. And that's something that you can't just, drop into ChatGPT. That's something you kind of need to build out your own solution for. The whole area around kind of specifications, keeping an eye on that, that's another area. Every organization is different. Like, we had someone asking the other day about one around hot desking. They needed an app that would allocate hot desks so that their poor HR manager, who's doing this manually, I think using an Excel spreadsheet, and they have about 300 staff, so that she doesn't have to do that anymore. So what I love from a kind of a creative viewpoint is that we try and train out as much as possible through training. And then you might have one or two kind of biggies that would be solvable through, their own specific app. So that's why we kind of call ourselves AI adoption specialists, because we help people to adopt AI, whether that's through learning how to do it for yourself, which is the ideal, or getting us to build something for you.
And actually, that's a good point. Like, is this something that you come into a company and kind of deliver some of these courses, um, present them with results as such and recommendations and walk away? Is it something that you take on for 3 months or 6 months or whatever the case may be, and then that's you done? Is that how it works?
We
Or
don't walk away. We don't walk away. So we do a lot of, like, so we do programs. So with some of the larger clients that we're working with, we have kind of like maybe 12 and 24-month programs. So we'd be rolling through cohorts, delivering training. And then what you'll find is that with any kind of group of people, there's always maybe about 20% in a group that want to go much deeper and more
yeah.
advanced. So when we've done about, say, 3 or 4 cohorts, we'll take the advanced people from them, and then we kind of go deeper with them. And then you have refreshers, obviously, because it is the fastest moving environment that I've ever worked in my life.
Mhm.
And, things we trained out maybe in January, there's new things that have happened since then. So we do kind of refreshers as well. And really, like, we we tend to have really good relationships with all the people that we've trained out. So if they're doing something themselves and they have a problem, they know to just message one of the team, and then we'll come back to them with help, support, a prompt, or whatever it is that they need. We do have a kind of a change management expert within the team. So, we do take a lot of care at the start to kind of work out how we're going to deliver this and how we deliver it in a way that doesn't feel overwhelming for people and that takes away the fear that, oh my God, if I take this training, is AI going to, take away my job? And the overriding answer to that is absolutely not. Because our whole vibe with the AI Institute has been always and always will be is that we help companies do more with same. So
Mhm.
we don't choose to work with anyone who wants to bring in AI to reduce their headcount because that's not what it's about. And the research is coming out as well from the likes of Clárna and so on, who famously did this, and now they've had to go back out and rehire all these people again, which I think is great.
Yeah.
So we're about helping people do more with same. So it's like taking away all the kind of admin crap and then freeing up the time with your existing team and then getting your existing team to be able to do the kind of work they really want to do, like the deeper work, the creative work, getting up from your desk, walking away and sitting down with another human and having a bit of a brainstorm, that kind of work.
Okay.
So that's kind of all contributes to the results that we deliver, because when people are working in that way, when humans get together, the results are usually pretty amazing.
Okay. And I think, what you're speaking about, it's sort of that simplistic messaging of course, in the last 12 months, 24 months, there has been, probably a little bit of scaremongering and a little bit of fear throughout this industry and every other industry on, is AI going to take my job? Is AI going to make me redundant? And I think that great message that comes through is no, AI is not going to take your job, but the person in your industry who knows AI, they might take your job, and I think that's it's quite simplistic. And there's a lot more to it than that, and a lot to go on behind the scenes across all industries. And I'm sure you've seen the meme of the building with the can chat GPT finish this project. And it's very good. It again a simplistic message, but it's certainly something that we need to embrace across all industries, and we need to get on board and upskill across the board.
But speaking to that point, Cróna, like the early days, like, so before I launched the AI Institute, I did a whole year of MVP, which was, in other words, I was rolling out AI training for different sectors. And back then, the fear was, is AI going to take my job? And the truism was, well, no, someone who's trained in AI will. But what we found since then is, and particularly now in 2025, is that when we do the pre-course surveys, the fear isn't around that. The fear is overwhelm. Most people are kind of starting to use things anyway off their own bat, and then they see and they hear about all these different features and these different tools, and it's overwhelmed, and it's very powerful, and people are like, I'm kind of, I don't know where to start. There's so many things, and how will I go about it? So I think it's really interesting how humans' fears have evolved from, will it take my job, which is kind of 2023, 24, into what's going to happen to my data, into now, which is overwhelm. And who knows what the fear is going to be in 2026. But our job at the AI Institute is to be on top of it and to kind of remove that fear and kind of help people to continue to adopt.
Okay. Okay.
Can,
And
can I mention actually some research that we've done during the summer of
yeah.
2025, and it's so interesting. So last year we did some research into AI adoption with various different companies, just to kind of see how our business is going about adopting, because there isn't a playbook yet, because we're all kind of making up the playbook as we go along. And the ways that I heard from various different practitioners how they were bringing it was really interesting. And this year, we've done the same piece of research again, but very much focusing in on built environment sector professionals in UK and Ireland. And again, the insights are amazing. So we are finding, this is like a sneaky preview of the research, we're finding that we have, like, there's not a kind of a continuum. There's
Okay.
definitely two extremes going on. There's the ones who have done nothing, and then there's the ones who have done a lot, and they are kind of powering ahead. So, what we're going to be doing on the 20th of November is we're going to have a webinar where we're going to be inviting some of the people who've taken part in the research to come on, and we're going to kind of present the results of the research. So, for the ones who are ahead, they can kind of tap themselves on the back and go, okay, great, we're in this early adopting cohort. And for ones who are behind, they can look to the leaders and kind of say, okay, what worked for you? You know, what would you advise that we do or that we don't do, and so on. So that's going to be online actually on the 20th of November.
Okay, okay, great. Um, just I suppose in terms of integration, when we talk about construction companies and engineering firms, we talk about sort of loosely their tech stack. Where do you and where does the AI Institute and what you're doing, where is that fitting into, the tech stack of a typical construction or engineering company?
Absolutely, really good question. We slot right into the tools that are being used. So, like, we all know like all the tools are now baked, come with like AI baked in, and
Mm.
various levels of how well baked in they are or not. Okay, so obviously we'll work with the tools that they already have, and then we would usually train out on one of the large commercial LLMs. So an LLM is a large language model, so the likes of ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot, or you could be looking at Claude or what have you. So that's usually enough for companies. There's a lot of kind of small, kind of like mini apps that they can use that might sort of achieve a very specific thing. And again, we can kind of recommend in on some of those, depending on the kind of the use case. So really what we're doing here is we're kind of balancing the tools that they've already got, because you don't want to be, you want to work with what they've already got.
Mm.
And then also balancing budget. We can't be coming in saying, okay, you need to use, 5 licenses. And although the licenses are only like 20 euros each, 5 licenses per person across a multiple sized
Yeah.
company is just not going to fit it. So usually we'd work with them to select like one that they're going to work with. And that's what we train out on.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. I suppose, Mary Rose, maybe to kind of conclude, in a general sense, not just from your perspective within the AI Institute, but in an overall sense, here in
As a
Ireland,
human.
yeah, yeah, here in Ireland and indeed all over the world. Tell me, I suppose, in an elevator pitch, in a couple of lines, um, what is AI? How is AI adding value to the industry?
It is adding value in multiple ways by, at one level, removing a lot of the burdensome tasks that have just evolved since we adopted things like email. Okay,
Hmm.
everybody knows there's an over reliance on email. So we can use AI to kind of start killing those kind of old dated processes. At the same time, we can use AI to entirely and completely reimagine the ways that we do things. So what this means is that when you're able to get AI in to analyze data and do like predictive modeling, it can lift and it can elevate and can enable us to kind of road test so many different ways of doing things. So for example, I was talking with Sharon Richardson from Horley in the UK recently, and she was talking about how they're using AI in the business. And it's like, she said, we can now kind of road test or can try out thousands of different variations of a design to pick out the absolute best. And that was just not possible before. So there's two sides. One is kind of reimagining the dead old processes. The other is coming up with entire new ways of doing things. And the thing like that is emerging is that like the human being who's we call it human in the loop, the human being who's in charge of this is ever more important, because we are the ones that come up with the ideas of what we're going to ask the AI to do. So we're never going to be out of job. It's like we're the ones that are kind of the orchestrators. So we have this message within the AI Institute, which is about, you are the CEO of your own role. You've all these little minion tools that can help you do the tasks, and then you just have to be the one to come up with the questions. So it's a very good time if you've got a kind of a questioning mind or a curious mind, it's a really good time to be working because there's nothing to hold you back now. You can just ask all the questions you like, get the answers, and then enjoy the results.
Okay, great. Well, I suppose a good place to finish up. Thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you today on the Proptech Hot Seat, Maryrose, and the very best of luck with the AI Institute for the future. Thanks so
Thanks
much.
for having me.